amazing fireworks this past week. Went to a water park yesterday and did some certain shows, like animal shows, and then today followed up on some more water fun, bro. Slid on the side for a little bit with the family. So, other than that, just been chilling.
Happy 4th of July to all the viewers. Let's not forget that before we get too far in the show. Shout out to everybody tuning in tonight. Cody, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much, and happy late 4th of July to y'all. Independence Day. I'm glad to see everybody's got all their fingers still today, right? Perfect. All right, I know sometimes you gotta yell, back up, Terry, but everybody made it through with all 10 digits. I'm excited for that, but it's good to be back talking about Dirty Bird football.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, aka the Birdcage, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you here on the podcast. Obviously, we've talked about it before. It hasn't happened. Ryan, what's going on, man?
Man, what's going on? You mean the historian, man, dog? Come on, man. Nickname the historian. The Birdcage, man, LLC. That's the group that I host on YouTube and whatnot. Got great content with my Birdcage, the magnificent Birdcage crew that comes through, and they do the damn thing every week, man. So, you know what? I got to get comfortable up in here, man. So, I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of hammer on here for y'all, man. So, I got to get comfortable with y'all one time. I'm getting ready to act a fool in here. So, if you hadn't seen the show before, y'all getting ready to get a treat tonight, fellas.
That's how you know the man's ready to talk Falcon football. Threw the toggle up in the background on the green screen, man. It's time to talk Falcon football. Philip, Cody, man, there ain't been much to talk about when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. Off season has been kind of slow. Obviously, we can talk about position battles, etc., and that could go on from there the whole show if we talk about position battles. But I want to bring some PFF grades, some social media talk, as you will. But before we get to that, shout out to all the comments in the comment section. D. Sloan, a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan, said, "What's up, fellas? Rise up. Rise up, D. Appreciate you tuning in tonight, brother. One time for the fans. Says, hey, now rise up. Hit that like button ASAP. Check out my boys. Yes, one time for the fan, man. Hit that subscribe button over there. Shout out to them. Live damn near every day. Friday, Wednesday, Monday, Sunday. It don't matter. One time for the fans bringing you Falcon content. Shout out to Mama in the chat. She says, happy Friday, guys. Rise up. One time for the fans. Says, historian was good.
What's happening?
Falcon fans, we got to bring you the good and the bad, and we're going to bring you the NFL roster ranked by PFF grades, and we'll go around the table and chat about that here for a minute. The Falcons land not too bad of a spot considering the last 3 years you've had under Arthur Smith. You rank at number 15 out of 32 teams. The number one team, obviously, the 49ers, Chiefs, and you got the Eagles, Jets, Ravens. I could continue going on, but Falcon fans, how are we feeling about the number 15 spots after obviously not very well seasons the past we could go 6 years. It hasn't been great here in Atlanta. Philip, your thoughts about ranking number 15 and the high expectations they have for the Falcons this year?
Honestly, I kind of like it at the moment. Number 15 at the moment. We haven't seen what we're gonna do, what's gonna happen, and everything like that. But I'm not even gonna complain about being at number 15. But there is one team I feel like we should be ahead of looking at it right here, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. We don't know what's going to go down. Who's that one team, Phil? I really feel like we're at least better than Green Bay.
I can give you but the sum up of why Green Bay's 13, the Jordan Love project. He makes it to the playoffs, wins the playoff game.
Yeah.
But so that's why they get that 13th spot. Cody, your thoughts. Go ahead, Philip.
Like I'm saying, it is what it is. I'm not complaining, I want to see more of what we can do first before I, want to jump the gun and say certain things,
100%. Cody, your thoughts. Obviously, your Falcons rank at number 15 out of 32 teams, right in the middle of the pack. You've went, 8 and so the past 7 and 10 the past 3 years with Arthur Smith. Now you got a new coach in Raheem Morris, a new DC, a new offensive coordinator coming here in Zach Robinson. Your thoughts about the Atlanta Falcons ranking number 15?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good spot for us till we can see what Kirk Cousins does this year. It's amazing. Again, like we said, last show, man, it's amazing what an elite quarterback will do for you as far as primetime games and where you sit in rankings. So as of right now, I'm okay with 15. I think we'll be higher by the time the season ends. I'm thinking top 10 at least. So I'm excited to see what we do. That feels about right for the last few seasons that we've had. That feels about right.
Yeah, you have to agree. I mean, you picked up Michael Penix Jr. in the first round. You didn't go after that sexy first-round pick Falcon fans wanted to see as far as defensive tackle, defensive edge, whatever that position may have been they wanted. The historian is here to break down the facts with us. Historian, what do you think about the Atlanta Falcons ranking at number 15 out of 32 teams?
Honestly, I think they were generous with giving us the 15th spot because, yes, we have one of the best running offenses, but now let's see how that running offense is going to be without the guy who ran the ball majority of the time with the idiot Arthur Smith. And yes, I said idiot because that's what he was. But we have to see what this passing game is going to be like because you have a first-time offensive coordinator and Zach the Attack Robinson coming in here. You have Kirk Cousins who knows the system, but everybody's not looking at the fact that you've got to get your timing down when it comes to your passing routes. The familiarity has to be there. You have a lot of new guys here, and you have to understand the offensive line has to gel for whatever quarterback that they have. So they have to understand it doesn't happen in practice. It happens when those live bullets are flying. So when you look at Kirk Cousins being a guy with a quick release, you have to look at the type of quarterbacks we've had before Cousins. The last two wasted experiments and Mariota and Desmond Ridder, they held the ball too long and then they would run. So when you look at this offensive line, their passing protection is going to be one of the biggest question marks of the season starting off because 15 is generous. I was going to say we should have been at 19 because the running game is there, but that passing game has to be there. If it's not there, we're going to lose a lot of ball games if we don't get it together. But I believe we're a 10, 11 win team this year.
Love to hear it. Historian, you speak on the facts that you got a new quarterback behind the helm, a center that is wishy-washy when it comes to shotgun snaps, a lot of low snaps to Mariota that season, even with Desmond Ridder. And then you talk about the fact that the run game is under a new regime in Zach Robinson. The offensive line in Bergeron, we know he's a run blocker, but can he pass block? That's the big question. Philip, Cody, we'll let you chime in on this conversation here. Your guys' thoughts about Bergeron, a second-year player, going into a new scheme. Zach Robinson, we know he can run block, but can he pass block? Philip, Cody, your thoughts?
I feel like we've seen it before, this past season, there was a lot of games there was some games where we did pass decent, they wasn't always the best games, but the line, majority of the line held up, not just, the whole line, but him himself. He was our second best PFF grade player on our team. I'm pretty sure this year. And some of them, not besides just the run block, majority of it was also pass block as well. So I don't have like any doubt in my mind like why he couldn't be able to pass block, but you never know. Second year, you just have to see. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Philip always talking good about the Atlanta Falcons. You're never going to hear nothing bad out of this guy in the top right. Shout out to Philip. Cody, your thoughts about this offensive line under a new Zach Robinson? Kirk, he spoke about it a lot when he first came to Atlanta, calling up these receivers, trying to get this chemistry right with these receivers, and it's something that he spoke on a lot when it comes to interviews. Cody, your thoughts about the short, long, kind of medium training camp that you have with your receivers and the quarterback? And Drew Dolman, I would love to hear your thoughts about that being on the former line.
Yeah, no. So it's like, it's like Ryan said, it does take nothing will ever simulate a live football game except for a live football game. I don't care how many reps you take in practice until you are up against, the Terrell Suggs and those guys, and you've got, the other teams playing against you, you don't get those live reps. Like, that's incredibly true, man. Like, I wish I could I could talk forever about how much more you learn from a game than you will from any practice. Practice is important. Mm-hmm. Absolutely is important, but the experience comes from gameplay. So yeah, it may take some time to get that. It does always take offenses a little more time to start to click than defenses do. Because, to his point, you've got to get your timing down. You've got to get, hey, I know Kirk, when he takes this 3-step drop back, the ball's out now and not, step back, turn, and now it's out. So it's going to be a lot of that. But I think that's where we can really rely on that run game that we have with Bijan and Tyler to make up for that while we're getting there. I don't see why, not by week 5, week 6, that this offense is kind of clicking, is more on pace. You get those games, especially with the big games that we start out with, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Those are all tough games, but iron sharpens iron, or the old saying goes.
Yep.
So that's as much as it's tough to have those teams right off the bat, it also helps your team improve that much quicker, that much faster. So I think that's good for us. As far as Bergeron goes, I've seen him pass block. I'm not worried about it. I'd be more worried if we had like a Desmond Ritter, Marcus Mariota still sitting back there. Again, to Ryan's point, holding the ball way too long, and him not having that time, because you can only block for so long, man. It's tough to hold somebody else back while you're sitting back and pass block. So I've seen him do it. I think he can continue to do it. I don't think it's a weak point by any means. I've not seen anything in his game that really shows me, hey, you can't do it. So, like I said, I think he can do it. I'm excited to see him do it. There's a reason he's out there, man. He's one of the few out there.
Second round pick, you traded up to get Bergeron. It was something Terry does the recent years. That's what Terry has done the past 2 drafts. Historian, I know this wasn't a topic for tonight, but I got to ask you your thoughts about Dawson at the center. Do you think that is who you're going to ride throughout the season? Will this be a situation where we're looking for a center week 8?
Honestly, that should have been something that we drafted this year. If you really want to be honest, I said this from on my show. But at the end of the day, they're looking at trying to bring in a guy that has experience in the NFL, is not overwhelmed, has the speed of the game down. But I'm just going to be honest with you. You have to have someone who not only can snap the ball, because we've had the past 3 years, we've had too many footballs rolled on the ground, too many that's been on the ground. And that's put our offense at a standstill when we've had momentum because of bad snaps. You got to bring somebody in here that not only can snap the ball, that's also going to be able to read the defense before he snaps the ball. You have to have intelligence at that center position, because that's key. And when you were talking about the offensive line, you were talking about Bergeron. Bergeron ain't the problem. The problem has been Caleb
McGarry.
That's been the problem. Dude has been I'll put it this way. His accessibility to the quarterback is as accessible as the MARTA turnstile at the College Park train station. All you got to do is drop it and walk right through. You're gonna touch the quarterback. He got to go. If it's anybody that you have to start at that position because he understands pass blocking and run blocking, when McGarry was out, I said Storm Norton should have had that job right off the bat, because he was a guy that had experience, that came in, and he was an anchor that helped out that offensive line last year. And if you notice, play was a lot better when you had him on, and you didn't have that many mistakes at the center position either, because not only did he play guard and tackle, he also played center when he was in New Orleans, so he was able to talk to the young guy and coach him through. So for me, we got to have more stability on that offensive line. That's just me.
100%. Caleb McGarry, a guy you drafted early when the old regime was here. He had those bad years starting out. Then he had that one contract year where he just balled out, had the good run defense or run offense. But as you said, he is the blind side. Well, he isn't the blind side, but he will be the Michael Penix if you continue to contract sign Caleb McGarry. And shout out to YouTube viewers, because I know I accidentally said Dawson instead of Drew Dolman. My bad. So shout out to everybody that corrected me on that. Falcon fans, I have some news for you, and it's a top 25 players under 25. There's a list of 25 people, and there's not a single Atlanta Falcon player on this list. People like Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Gibbs, Trent McDuffie, Jordan Love, players of this era, and no Bijan Robinson. Falcon fans, Philip, Cody, and then obviously the historian, your thoughts about Bijan not ranking top 25 under 25?
Simple. I can tell you why he's not on there, and that is one guy only, and that is because of Arthur Smith.
Yep.
That's the only reason. Didn't use him the way he should have been, and it's criminal. The kid's got talent, man. Beyond talent. As far as like talent wise, I feel like he is better than Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm not knocking down Jahmyr Gibbs. He's his own player, he's great as any other,
right.
He's like that, but I just feel like I got to give Bijan that over the edge on that a little bit, because like athletics wise, it's crazy. But
you see on this list here, you see divisional opponents here in Chris Olave, Tristan Wirfs, players of this era, guys. This is the future of the NFL, and you do not see an Atlanta Falcon on the list.
Not even a Drake London.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty criminal that at least Bijan's not on this list. I mean, we watched him take people's ankles all year long, even when Arthur Smith, was using him wrong. I mean, the kid just has that it factor, man. There's just no other way to put it. I can kind of understand Kyle Pitts. I don't know if Kyle Pitts is under 25, but uh, I can kind of understand Kyle Pitts. He's struggled a little bit, but again, that's because look at who his quarterback's been. There's a reason that, but from man, it really it's kind of irritating not to see at least Bijan on there. He's special, man. I say he's definitely a special player, and to leave him off is kind of criminal to me. But I mean, that's it's kind of like to Philip's point, it's how Arthur Smith used him, and then it's also kind of, well, he's a Falcon player, and we don't put good Falcon players on lists that they deserve to be on. So,
yeah, 100%. Historian, your thoughts? No Bijan, no Drake, no Atlanta Falcon. How do you feel about it?
I'm tired of all y'all kissing Bijan's ass. Y'all go to hell with that. And I'm saying this off the rip. I'm getting ready to treat y'all like I do these folks on the Birdcage. This man that's on my shirt, Tyler Algier, is 24 years old. He broke a 40-year-old.
No, not the TG, baby. That's our guy. Tyler Algier is our guy.
I'm just saying. But no, but the problem is the people are trying to force feed Bijan to everybody because of the fact he was a first-round pick. And I'm going to tell you this here. William Andrews wasn't a first-round pick, and you see he's one of the greatest Falcons of all time and one of the greatest Falcons in history. That's why I have him on my shirt with Tyler Algier. Now, this is the thing that separates those two. Yes, Algier broke ankles. Okay, but here's the problem: why Algier's not on the why he's not on that list. How many times did you see him fumble the football in crucial situations last year? Let's just keep it real, dog. As a running back, your job is to protect the football, and he did not do so in crucial situations. I get that it comes with time, but the one position that transitions to the NFL is running back, because guess what? The only thing you have to get together is your blocking scheme, because you running through the hole, you finding places to go, and using your God-given ability transitions a lot faster than everybody else. Now, Tyler Algier is 24 years old. This man has been solid and consistent, even with sharing carries, averaging 4.9 yards when he first started out, and then 5 yards a carry last year. So when you look at it, you got a guy who's been consistent, a guy who's been playing hurt and everything else, and taking the mantle because he had Cordell Patterson in front of him. He had Duke Huntley in front of him. You had Williams in front of him before he hurt his ribs. So when you look at a guy like that, I feel as if he's underappreciated, and that should be that man needs to be on that list, because that's a 40-something-year-old record that has not been broken, and it finally was broken by a guy that was sharing carries. And the other honorable mention I'm going to have on that top players from top 25 players for under 25 is Drake London. Drake London adjusted his game last year and was one of the top receivers in the league, and had pretty much had 18 contested catches last year in 2023. And that's the most out of the NFL. So when you look at it, you got two guys right now that are top players. But the thing is, because Atlanta was so bad or whatnot, you pass over those guys. So no disrespect to Bijan. I want you to do your thing, kid, because you're here, but I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Tyler Algier is that dude. I get that you got all the flash and the pizzazz, but give me the dude with more substance than flash and pizzazz, because that man has proven that he can get it done every Sunday.
If you think back, or if you look back to the game in New Orleans, Tyler Algier's rookie season, he ate against New Orleans, bro. Tyler Algier was the guy that kept us alive that game. I was sitting in the Superdome toilet, whatever you want to call it. I was sitting there, and I hear Falcon fans behind me hollering, "He's a rookie! He's a rookie!" So I'm thinking, okay, this is our running back for the future. And then the Falcons go and draft Bijan Robinson the next year. So I'll keep it a buck with you, historian. I was heavily against drafting Bijan Robinson. I wanted the Jordan Davis. I wanted the big man in the middle, but we went the Bijan Robinson route, which is not Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter was the guy I wanted. So Tyler Algier, man, is definitely a guy that could be a number one running back on the roster.
I'm gonna live up to my nickname, the historian, real quick for you before we end up changing topics. Go back and look at William Andrews' rookie year and see the game that he broke out with. The game that he broke out with was against the New Orleans Saints in 1979. He had over 200 yards, and he had 3 tutties in that game. Go back and look at that. My man, Damian Mitchell, he's the son of legendary Falcons tight end, the original unicorn. Kyle Pitts ain't the unicorn. That's his dad is the unicorn, Mr. Big Jim Mitchell, who's still ranked 6th in receiving yards and caught the first Falcons touchdown in playoff history for the Falcons. So that gentleman that you just saw, that's Jim Mitchell's son. God rest Mr. Mitchell's soul.
Shout out to Damian Mitchell for here in the comment section, man. Shout out to your pops. I did not know that. That's a cool thing to see right here. Damian Mitchell in the chat with it. Falcons fans, bringing you some Falcon news and updates. Atlanta Falcons have officially gave out some practice dates that we can attend. A lot of Falcon fans were upset not being able to make training camp. On the 27th at 6 p.m. at the Seckner High School, free walk-up entry gates, and then August the 2nd at 6 o'clock in the Mercedes Stadium, being gates open at 5. $5 tickets benefit support of the medical programs and treatment services of Emory Healthcare. So shout out to the Atlanta Falcons for dropping those dates. Falcon fans, historian, will you be there in the building August the 2nd?
I probably won't be there for August 2nd for that, but some of my folks will be. I actually have a prior engagement around that time, so it definitely will be a great opportunity to see some things if I can. I would love to, but I got some prior obligations, but I'm definitely going to try to have something going this year. You're in the Atlanta area, right?
No, sir. I stayed down towards Jacksonville, Florida, about an hour away from there. So I'm still in Georgia, but I'm not in the A1.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What part are you down? Because my mom and my dad are down in Jacksonville, man.
Okay. Well, see, I'm still in Georgia, so I'm right at the edge in Baxley, probably an hour and 30 minutes.
I know where Baxley is. Not that far from Brunswick and Savannah. I used to hang out all up and through there, man. Used to go to Kingsland, go to the little gas station, get my candies and honeys right over there in St. Mary's, Georgia. So shout out to South Georgia, man.
Yes, sir, man. We repping big time for the A. Philip, I know you're going to be in the bins if you can make it. We're going to carpool together for that one. Cody, I know you're there, brother. You in the bins August 2nd? I will not make the Seckler High School because that's during the week at 6 o'clock p.m. I got work. But shout out to all the Falcon fans that'll be there. Make sure you get to watch some live coverage, post some videos, man. Some Falcon content finally hitting the board. It's always good to see your team out there in that first look. Get to see what you're repping with quarterback-wise. The continuity, as historian commented on, about the receivers and the quarterback, to see what's happening there. That's pretty much all the Falcon news and updates I got for you, other than around the league source. The new topic we brought here to the channel, around the league. It says how much each NFL team sold last year, or the last time they sold for. It was $545 million for the Atlanta Falcons back in 2002. The highest was $6.5 billion in 2023. The Washington Commanders. Guys, this money is out there to get. I'm doing something wrong because I am not bringing in anything near that. Shout out to the Falcons for ranking $545 million in 2002. There's no telling what that price is now if Arthur was to ever sell. But this brings me to our next topic, and this is kind of we've already talked about it, really. Drake London, 18 contested catches in 2023, most in NFL. Philip, Cody, historian, this guy here, Drake London, is going to have a major load this year when it comes to this offense. I really, truly believe this is the year that Drake London breaks 1K. We have hopefully more than 10 touchdowns from Drake London. Philip, Cody, y'all's thoughts about Drake London heading into, year 3 now in Drake London?
Man, just looking at this, though, just like looking at it the most in the NFL with 18 consecutive catches, it's not a shocker to me. That is my guy. I feel like he is, like, historian said a little bit earlier about Tyler Algier, but as in the wide receiver form, he is underrated. That's how I feel. He's overlooked over some of these other receivers in the league now, but he's been doing this thing. If you look at some of the plays, he's made some of the toughest catches on some bad throws. It's crazy that, now that he has a quarterback, but we're just going to have to see how that's going to go. You have to see the time. I do feel like it'll be a good connection, but, you just never know how it's going to turn out. So, it's just certain things like that. But I'm confident enough that, him and Kirk had that connection. And people are saying Kyle Pitts might have the best, the most yards and catches and stuff. I'm leaning more towards
that's because Kyle Pitts has got to do an impact this year. There's a contract year coming up for Kyle Pitts. Do you franchise tag him? Do you re-sign him? Do you let him walk? what is going to happen with Drake? I mean, Kyle Pitts is beyond us. That is totally Kyle Pitts. You know, he's got to come back healthy. Obviously, last year came off the injuries, 2 injuries that weren't really announced. It was something that was kind of kept hush-hush until it came available to the news. Cody, your thoughts, Drake London heading into year 3, the big impact it's going to take for Drake to take that 1K step and get us some double-digit touchdowns here in Atlanta like a true receiver one.
Oh yeah, no. I think with Kirk Cousins being his quarterback, you know, it's not going to be as hard as people thinks that it's going to be, because Kirk's a good quarterback, man. Again, it's going to take some, you know, it's going to take a while for that continuity and that familiarity with each other to kind of close in. But there's no reason that I don't see, you know, Drake London with, you know, 12, 13, 14 touchdown catches and, you know, 1,500 yards, you know, 2,000 yards. It's just, it's like I said, you know, with the contested catches, man, it shows that he's just tough. I saw the most ridiculous thing the other day that said that he shouldn't be our wide receiver one because he doesn't have the speed to be wide receiver one. And it's just like, you know, he may not be the fastest wide receiver, but he is damn sure the toughest wide receiver. The only other guy that you can really compare that toughness to is Julio Jones. I mean, even though Julio, you know, was kind of hurt there for, you know, time in and time out, you know, Drake is just as tough, but he seems more sturdy than Julio. Now, I'm not saying that Drake is Julio by any means yet, but he's definitely got the potential to be one of the best, if not, you know, the best Falcon wide receiver that we've had in a while, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with Kirk and then onwards with FANITCS once that time comes.
Cody, to your point, you talk about Drake London not being the fastest. Then the Falcons go out and get speed, all free agency, and Darnell Mooney. Some of these guys, they bring Darnell Mooney, potentially receiver 2. Then you got, what's the other guy's name that you just brought in? Ray McCloud. There's a whole list.
His name was on the tip of my tongue, the cat from Arizona. We traded Desmond Ritter for him.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Can't think of his name.
Historian, your thoughts of Drake London, man. I know you're a big fan of Drake. What you got?
I think Drake is going to have a great year, but I think that ball is going to be spread out. So I don't see him getting up to 1,000 yards because you have so many people. And I'm sorry, the kid's name from Arizona is Moore.
Rondell Moore.
Rondell Moore. So I had to remember his nickname and whatnot before you posted that. But I'm going to give you this. There are 2 guys right now that's going to push that room. And they're undrafted free agents. I support Asian. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with historically black colleges and universities. Okay. So one of my guys that I talked about when we were doing our draft setting was a gentleman by the name of Odu Hilaire. Haitian cat out of South Florida, played at Alabama A&M and torched that Jackson State team that Deion Sanders was coaching that pretty much went to the HBCU national championship. Kid had over 200 and some yards, still had touchdowns on him. Leaves Alabama A&M after 2 years, goes to Bowling Green University and shows out at this level. We get this kid as an undrafted free agent, and then there's another guy out of southeastern Utah, but he started off at Kent State. Guy by the name of Isaiah Wooden Sr. Isaiah Wooden Sr. and Odu Hilaire both run 4.2s, have great hands. Now, if you want to talk about comparing guys, I'm gonna give you this here. Odu Hilaire is nothing but a faster version of Terrence Mathis, if I gotta compare. And then I'll give you with Isaiah Wooden Sr., that's Steve Smith all over again. Plays angry, physical, got great hands, and he's undersized. He can return kicks, punts, and most guys can't get hands on him. And he's also a physical blocker for a smaller guy. As for Drake, I feel like what's going to happen is because you look at Mooney. Mooney hasn't been able to stay healthy in Chicago. I remember when he came out of Tulane, Mooney was a bad man, but injuries hurt him in Chicago. Maybe being in Atlanta with a little bit more talent around him takes some of the physical beating off of him that he was taking and some of the pressure. And maybe his hands will be a little bit more consistent. Now, Ray McCloud, they're bragging on him, but I'm going to tell you this here. He was cut from San Francisco for a reason. Those hands are inconsistent at the wrong time. So we have guys that are sitting behind those dudes that can take their jobs just like that, easily.
Another guy, historian, that I'm pretty big on was our later round draft pick, Casey Washington. Pretty high on him coming out of college. He is a beast, bro. When it comes to physical, he's got the speed. I compared him to a Drake London as well as contested catches, how he can go up and grab the ball. He's got the speed. He's faster than Drake London, but the contested catches is there, bro.
If you're going to give him a wide receiver that you're going to compare him to, if I got to compare him to anybody that we watch, whether it's division rival or whether it's anywhere else, I honestly would compare him to I would say he's more of a Musa Muhammad. I'll go back to Musa Muhammad that played for the Carolina Panthers. He has more speed, but when you look at his body control and his hands, he's one of those guys that can go get it. Because if you remember, Muhammad was a guy that could just go get it, even though he wasn't the fastest, he was fast enough. Yeah. And we also have his teammate. Now, this is what nobody else is talking about. John Patton. I watched the kid. The kid is a killer. He's got a little bit of how can I say it? He would remind you of the gentleman that's out in San Francisco, Mr. Irrelevant, if you watch him play. That's who he would remind you of. But we took him as an undrafted. He's going to be in the locker room learning, because when we get rid of Taylor Heineke, because that's happening next year, he's going to be gone. This kid is going to step in, and then he's going to learn, because here's the thing. Yeah, we took Penix at number 1, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. I want Penix to ball out. I want him to do well. I want that to be my franchise. Yep. But because of the injury history, you got to have somebody that's behind him who can play just as well.
Right.
100%. Michael Penix Jr. was, a lot of people would say that the injuries would have kept. I mean, he obviously still went top 10 in the draft. People were saying the college game, the champion playoff game was what caused him not to go top 10. But the Falcons obviously still reach out and grab Michael Penix Jr. They seen the workout in Seattle in the snow. They seen what he can do in the rain. Michael Penix Jr. is a baller. They said he had the best deep ball accuracy in the draft when it comes to deep ball passes.
Compare him to Warren Moon if you want to compare him to somebody. Look at that deep ball from Warren Moon, the release, the accuracy, and you look at the touch on it, it's exactly like Warren Moon.
100%. When it comes, this is a little different direction from what we're talking about. When it comes to the cornerback spot, a lot of stuff's happening at the cornerback spot. You don't really have a deep roster when it comes to that. You can look at safety behind Jesse Bates. If Jesse Bates goes down, guys, it's going to be pretty shy when it comes to D-backs. You talk about the cornerback spot in Clark Phillips III potentially being cornerback 1 here in Atlanta if he can ball out and be the guy he was in college. Obviously a little shorter, but can still go up and get the ball. Phillip, who are you protesting for to be cornerback 1 here in Atlanta, or are you just going to let things work out the way it works out?
Are you saying as in quarterback? Not
cornerback, yeah. Who do you think
cornerback? 2? Okay, so we're just talking about 2. Okay, well, I
said 1. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I was. But I can't think of the guy's name. But he has a little bit of competition. But from hearing on the word, coming from Mike Johnson that was on the show as well, he said overall, and training camp or mini camp or whatever it is, overall that Clark Phillips has been the most exciting and most dominant as of right now. But once we get into more live action things, I want to see if somebody does put that competition to him to see if he continues to be that dominant, like they say it, like they're saying he is, or other things such and that. You know what I mean? But as of right now, I'm gonna just go with Clark at the moment. But.
Yeah, I agree with you, Phillip. I think Clark Phillip, just based off of what Mike Johnson said, they, really the only thing you can knock him for is his size, and that's, anytime somebody tries,
right.
his size. Well, it don't matter if he's got that dog in him, and he does. We've seen it. We've seen him step up and be that number 1, and I think Clark Phillips is going to continue to play and get better. I don't know why he would. I mean, honestly, where would he drop off? But I think again, just because this man, the size thing it's kind of like with Steve Smith. Everybody knocked him. Well, he's only 5'9". He's fast and he's mean, but he's not going to be anybody. And then Steve Smith is only the greatest wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers to ever put to put on their helmet. So I think Clark Phillips is still, even though he may be small, he's still physical. He's still fast. He's still, got that fight in him. So I think he's going to be fine there. I don't see him going anywhere but up, and he's already got a great ceiling. So,
Right.
Story, your thoughts about the cornerback spot in Atlanta?
D Offer needs to be number 2. I'm not saying that with no hesitation. I'm saying that with no hesitation. D Offer needs to be number 2. Clark Phillips III needs to be a slot guy because Clark definitely fits that slot position. D is a guy that has height, range, speed. Outside of playing in Canada, playing in a pass happy type of system up there in Canada, he's coming to Atlanta where he definitely can. His game can transition at that cornerback spot because Jerry Gray got the best out of D Offer last year. Jerry Gray got the best out of that guy. And to me, a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to say this for you homers and AJ Terrell fans. AJ ass got to go. I'm saying this now. I stand 10 toes down on this because of the fact that he had one good year. One good year. Ever since he's been in the Falcons uniform, he's been suspect, and he got outperformed last year by a guy that they brought in off the street. That was a former first-round pick. You look at the numbers and you look at the secondary. I think Jerry Gray is going to have one of the best secondaries. Raheem Morris is going to have his hands in that, but I think he's going to let Jerry Gray do his job and his due diligence in that spot. But again, I feel like we missed out on drafting a corner this year because we need a number 1 corner. We need a number 1 corner, and numbers don't lie. And I can present the numbers for you, but like I said, I'm a guest tonight, so I can't really pull up those numbers for you. But I'm just being honest. At that safety position, another guy that's got to go.
Richie.
I've been saying it. Richie Grant got to go.
Richie
got to go. AJ got to go. And I've been standing on business with that for a long time. DeMarco Helms needs to be that number 2 safety. He proved his worth last year. Yeah,
leading tackler in
Alabama. As a 7th-round pick and came in making plays, impact.
A dirty man, boy. That's a bad man.
So here's your stats on AJ Terrell.
Yeah, AJ Terrell. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, he don't get." I said, "No." As a corner, yes, you're going to get beat, but the thing is, you cannot get beat on routes that's going to give up a ball game or that's going to change the point of a game. You can't. It happens, but when it's consistent, it's a problem. It's a serious problem. And for our defense, we can't keep giving up big plays like that because our front 7, and this is just me, the wild card on our defense is going to be if they drop Troy Anderson from that linebacker spot, put him down at the edge rusher. I've been saying this since day one. I've been saying this since day one because you got a guy that only played 1 year linebacker and really tried to learn on the fly in the NFL. You're not going to do that because of the athleticism he has. He's not a dumb guy because you play quarterback, running back, receiver, safety, and linebacker. You're a football player. Put this guy on the edge with the size and the speed that he has and the bend that he gets around offensive linemen with, he can be a problem because all I'm saying is this. Our former 2nd-round pick out of Penn State has been a bust.
You talking about Ebiketie? That's where I was headed. That's where I was headed next with you, historian. Was your thoughts about Arnold Ebiketie after the Terrell conversation? Arnold Ebiketie at the edge. This is the last year for Arnold Ebiketie. This is it. He's got to do it this year. There's no more Ebiketie in Atlanta.
I want him gone. I said when we made the draft, and a lot of us Bulldog fans. I don't know if y'all dog fans or not. I know I am.
For sure.
So you remember in the Peach Bowl, and everybody kept talking about Steel Chambers and all those guys on that defense. There was one guy that stood out on that defense. No, he didn't have the numbers that put in, but he reminded me same size, speed, aggressiveness, and the way that he plays is this. Zach Harrison. I said Zach Harrison was a problem because if you look at it, he dominated in that game and made Stetson Bennett very uncomfortable. And if I compared him to anybody, I would compare him to a Javon Curse, a young Javon Curse that came out of Florida. Now, for anybody that's 35 and above, they got to watch the Gators during that time, and I can't stand Florida for nothing. You got to see how much of an impact player the Freak was when he was in Tennessee and in Philadelphia. That is the type of impact Zach Harrison has on that edge. So if you got Troy Anderson and Zach Harrison, Dorless, and you got Grady and Onyemata and Street and those guys, you have a recipe for a great pass rush.
Philip, Cody, your thoughts on Arnold Ebiketie? Obviously, we talked about it last podcast, how we had to see the sacks coming up this season in the new defensive scheme. Philip, Cody, do you think that's something Arnold can do at a down position, or does Arnold Ebiketie need to be at a stand-up position?
Man, at this point, I'm not even really sure. I've just not seen anything out of Arnold Ebiketie that shows me that he can even get to the quarterback, really. That was kind of my thing, is this is his year to step up, but, I just it's kind of – I kind of agree with, the historian over here that his time in Atlanta's up, and he needs to be gone. We've got to find something better at that spot because it's so important. The pass rush and, defense is just such an important part, especially going into this year with a new offense and a new, all that. I mean, we lost 3 games because we couldn't get to the quarterback. And that's what Arnold Ebiketie's supposed to do, is get to the quarterback, and he's not doing it.
Yeah. Philip, the big guy, you always bring him up, Eddie Goldman. What does he bring here to this team? Does he make the roster, or is this just a training camp body?
See, that is the question there. I don't know. You know what I mean? That is a name that you would love to hear, be as old like himself, like he used to be. But he hasn't been in action in, 3 years? So, I mean, I don't know. That's a question. But at that position, really on the line in general, it's kind of I feel like will be
deep. It's deep on the D line.
It's going to be a battle. Like, it's just, who knows if he's going to make it, if he's just going to be a camp body. But, something's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. Out of all the seasons, you just finally come back and you're kind of committed at this point.
Was it Arthur Smith? I don't know. Historian, your thoughts, Eddie Goldman making his comeback year, third year now that he's been out the NFL. He's been taking some time off, now back with the Atlanta Falcons. Your thoughts about Eddie Goldman? Does he make the 50-man roster, or is just something that is here for a training camp body?
And I'll say this, man. I believe it when I see it. Because the problem is everybody, like, this is the problem. And I say this, I'm I'm a hardcore Falcons fan, but I'm a realistic Falcon fan. I'm going to say what you don't want to hear. I'm not coddling this. I'm not a Bible Belt fan. Let me go ahead and put that out there right now. I'm a hostile Southern fan with all my sports teams. I'm one of the ones that's going to call them out when they're playing bad. Eddie Goldman is a guy that you couldn't trust to walk an old lady across the street. Just being honest. She could be right there, and she gives him $50 in his pocket. That joker will not help her cross the street. He'll probably take 2 steps, let her get hit by a passing deuce and a quarter. For those who don't know what that is, it's a Buick Electra, old school 1970s car. I think he let her get hit with a deuce and a quarter. Her groceries are over here, and she's laying down, and he's walking down the street with her money in his pocket and moving on about his life. Eddie Goldman's fat behind got to prove it. I'm sorry. You've been out of the league for 3 years. My thing is we need a big man in the pocket, in the hole, so Grady can play his natural position. Grady has played out of position for 9 years.
I'm telling you, bro.
Everybody don't want to sit there and say that. Grady would be more dominant, not at that zero technique, but for him to learn how to play in a zero technique, which means he's head up with the center, pretty much big man taking on double teams and everything. And for him to be effective like that, imagine what it would be like if we had a big man playing a zero technique and you're letting Grady playing the A gap and the B gap, and he's actually balling. That's all I'm saying. You let Grady play his natural spot, and now he's been in the gym getting stronger.
That boy look big.
I mean, just think about it. He's got to get stronger to build up muscle around that knee, because now it's like blood in the water with sharks. That there is going to call for guys are going to try to start cut blocking him and doing things to get him to slow down. You get a zero tech, you get a guy like a Goldman or a Street or an Ayumata to play a zero technique. Grady is going to eat.
100% agree, man. That brings me to our next topic, the very last topic of the night. Cody, this was your topic. Grady Jarrett addresses the media, says he's ready to get after it. He can't wait for the comeback year after the injury. Says he feels better than he did somewhat last season. Cody, your thoughts of Grady Jarrett speaking to the media?
Yeah, no, great. I can't give enough praise to Grady Jarrett, man. He does. He was already big and he got bigger somehow. It's insane. I can't wait to see Grady Jarrett come back because he's hungry. He had his best year under Raheem Morris when Raheem took over after Mike Smith got let go. So I'm looking forward to see what Grady can do because if we, God willing, Eddie Goldman does show up and he does do the things and does prove that he's still got something left in the tank, which we don't know. Like, to the historian's, point, we don't know. But, having Amyamata there, having, Street there, having Roka Row
Yeah, no
there,
rookie. Forget about
Row,
Roka,
Row.
man. I forget about Roka.
I think Grady is going to have his best year since his best year with Raheem Morris. He's coming back bigger. He's coming back stronger. He's going to be faster. He's going to be man. There's nothing better than getting. Well, there's nothing good about getting hurt. But these guys, they get hurt, and it's just like I'm coming back, and I'm coming back with my hair on fire, and we're going to get after it because there's nothing worse than getting hurt and missing football for these guys. This is what they eat, sleep, and do. This is, who they are. So I'm looking forward to seeing Grady get back healthy with that knee. Like, again, to the historian's point, yeah, people are going to be targeting that knee and stuff. But I think that just adds fuel to the fire for Grady Jarrett. It's like, okay, come after me. And we've seen that from Grady, being like, come after me. I've learned, we've watched him, go to that zero technique and take on, the double team blocking and all that stuff and still be able to fight people off. So again, we get him back into that natural position where he's, where he should become more comfortable and get more one-on-ones. And we will watch Grady Jarrett, 10, 11, 12 sacks. Put it on the books right now. I'm calling Grady for at least 11 and a half sacks this year.
Shit.
It's going to take him a year to get in the swing of things, right? Because you got to remember, you're coming off a knee injury. Think about it.
He may see, but that's
Think
the thing.
and he's in a position where he's getting hit all the time. Kyle Pitts took time, and he wasn't hit every play. You're talking about a guy that's in the trenches. I think he can come back from it, but I think it's going to come around mid-season when he's comfortable.
Need it.
So I agree with you on the 10, 11 sacks, but I don't think he's going to come out the gate with his head on fire yet. He got to get comfortable first.
Of course, you come off that major injury, and like to Cody's point, you are speaking about a dog in Grady Jarrett, an Atlanta native. His dad was an Atlanta Falcon. He wants it more for the city and himself than I think any other Falcon fan on the team. You talk about Jake Matthews, Grady Jarrett, these two, the last two of that 2016 era. These guys want it more, and the Falcons have got to go out and get these guys a ring, man. They've been here they've spent their whole life in Atlanta, their whole career. Historian, man, it has been a hell of a show to have you on tonight, man. We totally appreciate you for coming through. Plug these DFU comments and people from your page where they can find you at, man.
Man, you can check us out on YouTube at TheBirdCageLLC, 8 p.m. on Thursdays. And then also during the season, I do the halftime report, and then we have what we call either the party line or the benediction after the game. Party line, of course, we won. Benediction, everybody bring your troubles to the altar. You pray. You talk about what you like, dislike. You know how we get down. You either get right or you get left. 8 p.m. Thursdays live. We might be having a special guest on Thursday. The man that the 46 defense was named after, Mr. Doug Plank, who played for the Chicago Bears, might be coming on. He also was an assistant coach for the Falcons for a year and a half, 2 years. And if anybody remembers the Georgia Force, the Arena League that Arthur blanked on, he was the head coach for the Georgia Force as well. So we might have him coming through next week. So I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. Listen, anytime y'all want to come through the Birdcage, man, y'all got to definitely come through, and we got an open invitation, man, for you guys.
Yes, sir. Hit the inbox, Historian. You know what's up, man. We're glad to have you here on the channel, bro. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Peace out, homie.
Peace.
Falcon fans, what a special guest we had here tonight, man. The historian, the one and only. Get right or get left, man. Shout out to the historian for doing what he does. Always bringing Falcon podcast content, whether that's interviews from randoms, boxing, football, basketball, baseball. The historian does it all over at the Birdcage LLC. Be sure to check him out. Philip, Cody, that wraps up tonight's show, man. Give me your shout outs for tonight, brother.
Well, you already know what we rocking with. I'm blessed to be here, so thankful to God and special, bro. That's number one as always, and it will forever be. This past week has just been a blessing, man. It's been like fun. Nothing but just blessing, bro. So thankful for that. Thankful to be here tonight. Shout out to you two. Shout out to everybody that was all up in the chat. I love seeing everybody in the chat, man. Y'all really don't know what that means, really, for just three of us really, you know, coming off of never thinking we would do any of this, and now here we are, you know. So shout out to y'all mainly, man. Y'all, man, it's just a blessing.
Yes, sir.
But y'all already know, as always, I'm exhausted from this past week. But, you know, as always, baby, y'all know what to do, baby. Right?
Well, you better get woken up, baby, because we head to the beach in the morning. DFU boys headed to the beach in St. Simons. Check us out. Cody, brother, appreciate you coming through tonight, man. I know it's been a long month, a long whatever it's been for you, brother. I know everything that's been going on has been tough on you. But I want to say we appreciate you coming through on the channel to be able to come talk Falcon football, to be able to escape from that reality, talk to these Falcon fans, and bring the great content that you always bring here to the channel. Shout out to my guy, Cody. Cody, your shout outs for tonight, brother.
Yeah, no, shout out to, you know, everybody that watched. Definitely big shout out to Ryan, the historian, man, for coming on to DFU. Definitely brought a different flavor to the show, which was great. You know, shout out to his fans that came on, watched, and, you know, and commented, liked, and did all that wonderful stuff, man.
Hit that subscribe while you're here. Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, sir. I would say, but, you know, as always, shout out to you two for coming on and doing this with me. I would say, or really, I get to do it with y'all, man. I would say it's like you said, it's a great escape from reality. From, you know, as tough as life has been the last month, especially this last week, it's just good to get on and talk about Dirty Birds, man. So, you know, shout out to you two. Always rise up.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to give a shout out to my co-host here, man. My guy Philip, to the left on me, or to the right on your screen. My guy Cody right below me, man. Couldn't do it without you guys. DFU would not be here if I didn't have the co-host, man. I started out one solo dolo, tried to do it. Told Philip, I said, bro, I can't do it. I need you to come on to talk Falcon football with me. And then, boom, my guy Cody drops in mid-season. He's on the channel now. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Ryan, the historian, man, the Birdcage LLC, always bringing content, man, whether fans like it, whether fans disagree. The Ryan historian is keeping it 100, keeping it a buck with his true feelings of the Atlanta Falcons, a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan, man. Be sure to check him out. Once again, shout out to all the new comments. Shout out to all the new viewers. The subscribe button, man, it is free. Hit the subscribe button. Get us to 1K. We're at 406. 1K is the goal, man. If you guys push us to 1K, us three here is going to be ecstatic when we do that 1K roll across the screen. And guess what, guys? We're not going nowhere till we hit it, man. So we're going to keep pushing content, keep bringing you guys Atlanta Falcon football content.
Stopping once we get there.
We'll be at the bins. We're going to bring you live coverage when it comes to the regular season. We're going to bring you giveaways when it comes to the season. A lot more coming to Dirty Fanatics United when this season kicks off. Off season's been kind of slow, so we've been pulling topics out of our ass. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. But Falcon fans, as the topics roll in, we will be talking Dirty Falcon football with you, man. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a like and a comment. You're watching Dirty Fanatics United, an Atlanta Falcon podcast. As always, A-Town down, rise up. Hey, good show, boys. Great show. You got it? Yeah, I got it. Anyway, Cody, I ain't checked out the GoFundMe, bro. Did you do that or not?
Yeah, I got it. I say I appreciate it, man. I'll say it came through. As a matter of fact, came through yesterday. So
nice.
Gotta go give that to Mom. I got her a bracelet that has his picture on it. It says something to the effect of, I'll carry you with me until I see you again, and I'm gonna give her the money and her bracelet. So
damn, dude, we're still live, man. Shout out to all the viewers listening to us vent here on the Facebook page, man. Rise up.